Late April is an exciting time for the National Football League. Young players line up in their Sunday best with the hopes of being drafted and joining the legends they grew up watching. The draft always holds significance, but one year changed everything. Two trades highlighted both the pitfalls and heights of sports and life. That year was 2017.
With the second pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Mitchell Trubisky, quarterback, North Carolina.
Hello. The Kansas City Chiefs no longer have a first-round pick in next year's draft. Wow. They just traded it to move up 17 spots.
With the 10th pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select.
I'd like to introduce our first-round pick in 2017, Pat Mahomes.
Two trades happened and two quarterbacks were selected. One, the second overall pick, went to the Chicago Bears, and the other, the 10th overall pick, went to the Kansas City Chiefs. Before we talk about Mahomes and Trubisky, we have to talk about the NFL Draft.
Well, the NFL Draft, I think, is a great system. It was designed years ago to try to bring a little bit of parity to the league, which I think is a very good thing. It bothers me, and always has bothered some people, that you reward the bad teams by giving them the opportunity to draft the best players. But I don't think there's any other way that you could possibly do it. So you play your regular season. The worst team in the league gets to draft first the next year. The best team in the league has to draft last the next year. And again, I think ultimately that's a good thing. It's a good thing for the league. It's a good thing for television. It's a good thing for the fans. And it gives those bad teams a chance, unless, of course, they mess up the draft, which a lot of teams do.
In short, without the Bears and the Chiefs, the NFL wouldn't be the NFL. Yet, strange enough, both teams in 2017 were identical in the same need. Both needed a star quarterback. Experts predicted the Chiefs would play it safe in 2017 and draft a linebacker or offensive lineman. No one would expect that a team who hadn't drafted a quarterback in the first round since John Elway would trade up for one. Then, the draft happened.
I'm going to be charitable, and I'm going to give the Bears a D-. And I'm just trying to go easy on them because, trust me, I heard from a lot of them last night. They are devastated over this indefensibly idiotic move. Once again, by the Chicago Bears, the nightmare continues.
Well, I've always looked at it, I think you want the first pick in the draft to be an absolute impact player. I mean, usually they are, but I think the first guy taken in the draft, I think it should be a relatively easy decision that should give you, a future Hall of Famer, a great player. And I think that almost would only go, though, for about 4, 5, 6 picks. Then after that, it starts to get a little bit more iffy. I think anything after the first round is a bit of a crapshoot. Sometimes it is in the first round as well, obviously. I mean, it's not an exact science, which is what I think makes it, quite honestly, enjoyable.
Mitchell Trubisky, according to all pre-draft analysts, was going to be the first quarterback taken. He was a top 5 quarterback prospect who played in the same conference as fellow first-rounder Deshaun Watson. Trubisky was part of Trent Dilfer's Elite 11 quarterback program, designed to highlight the top 11 quarterback prospects in the country. He was highly recruited partly because of this.
What we're trying to do is we're trying to pull the most out of you. We want to help you reach your personal potential, specifically as a quarterback.
Patrick Mahomes came from a different path. Mahomes grew up in White House, Texas, in a small community of roughly 8,000 people that sits 2 hours away from any major airport. Even though he was crowned Mr. Football in the state of Texas, Mahomes was only a 3-star prospect and was the 47th ranked quarterback in the class. This was potentially caused by the fact that he was a 3-sport athlete with little time for recruiting events.
High school.
Over the last few years, as people want to know Patrick and know about him and, where was he? How come we didn't know about him? And, you always knew that Patrick was going to be a great athlete. It was just a matter of what sport was it that he was going to choose. He had a great love for basketball. I think Duke was his favorite school growing up, and he had dreams of going and playing basketball. But really, you could tell he could do pretty much anything that he wanted to do. He was very driven. He was very competitive in everything that he did. And, I think some of that it comes from within. I mean, you're looking, and now we're all trying to figure out where did it come from. I kind of attribute it to the fact that he's in these clubhouses and he's getting to see, Jeter, and he's getting to see A-Rod, and he's watching them, and he's grabbing a hold of a vision of like a professional athlete, and like, that's what I want. And I think that everything that he did in his life, in the classroom, on the field, in competition, is a testament to his drive to try to chase that. The fact that anytime he got in between these lines or on the court or wherever it was, he was going to compete and get after you,
Both Mahomes and Trubisky started in non-pro style offenses, and Mahomes improved in his last year. Yet, the stats are conflicting. Could the reason for a team's choice of trade be as simple as race? Trubisky is white, Mahomes is black. Black quarterbacks have seldom been drafted over white quarterbacks, just 5 times since 2001. 4 of those 5 were first overall quarterback draft picks. It seems that when there was a great up-and-coming black quarterback available, excuses were made for their white counterparts.
See what Deshaun Watson did. I understand how you pass over Mahomes because it's Texas Tech, but what Deshaun Watson was able to do in Clemson, I don't understand how you pass that up.
I'm watching this whole thing up. I'm like, who is this guy from North Carolina?
Yeah.
And we're picking number 2 over Deshaun Watson? What am I missing here?
Yeah.
People are so afraid to acknowledge that racism is alive and well. There's an oxymoron for you. But racism is alive and well and thriving in America. And it's true in society just as it is in the NFL. I asked Tom Landry, the former Cowboys coach, this back in the 80s. And his answer made a little bit of sense. I said, how is it possible that the most important player on the field is the quarterback? That quarterback is always a white guy. And he goes, well, that's not our fault because we take them out of college. And the colleges weren't playing the black quarterbacks. Most high schools didn't play the black quarterback. So it's kind of hard to blame the NFL because they weren't there. Well, now they're there. And now look what we have. The best quarterback in the game, Patrick Mahomes, black guy. Russell Wilson, black guy. Deshaun Watson, black guy. They're coming. Dak Prescott for the Cowboys, black guy. I mean, when given the opportunity, the black athlete turns out to be also a pretty good quarterback.
It appears to me that they didn't think this thing through. That they went and says, okay, we got to find our quarterback. Okay, we got our quarterback for, say, a year or for at least 2 years. And then all of a sudden, like, hold on, wait a minute. The Browns didn't take Mitchell Trubisky? That means he's there for us?
Yeah.
Skip, they always overvalue that position. Just because you need it doesn't mean you overvalue and go get it.
But if you look at the history of the NFL, the quarterback was white, the center was white, because the center was responsible for calling all the plays on the offensive line. The middle linebacker was white because he calls all the plays for the defensive front. And the safety was white because he calls all the plays in the secondary. Coincidence? Really? Just a coincidence that you would have an entire offensive line and there'd be 4 black guys and a white center, almost historically across the NFL.
Look, if Pat could throw 30 touchdowns and be top 10 in passer rating in the league, that would be a tremendous hit as far as your number 1 pick, as far as the quarterback position is concerned. To throw 50 touchdowns and over 5,000 yards, are you kidding? I mean, for your first-year starter, it doesn't get any better than that. I mean, how can you top that at the most important position in a league that's emphasizing quarterback play the way it's emphasizing it?
Looking back is easy. But I don't remember in that draft anybody going, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Portland takes Sam Bowie and they passed on the great Michael Jordan because he's going to change the game. And it's the same thing we're talking about here. Nobody on draft day went, oh my gosh, 9 teams passed on Patrick Mahomes. Can you believe that? 9 teams passed on Patrick Mahomes. Now they did say the Bears took Trubisky. Okay, that still seems stupid. It seems stupid on draft day. But nobody said, at least I never heard it, how could you possibly pass on Patrick Mahomes? And now we sit back You do documentaries about it. People write about it every day. People talk about it every Sunday. Well, we all knew Patrick Mahomes was special. Oh, I knew that. No, you didn't.
Patrick went to a few of the combines, if you will, you know. I never will forget, we went over to Allen Stadium. Trent Dilfer was the one who was there kind of running that thing, and you could tell that they weren't really giving Patrick a lot of, you know, love, but I think it was because of the system quarterbacking, what he does. And I don't know what Mitch was doing in his in the off seasons. I don't know how many camps he was going to, and I know Patrick wasn't doing that. Patrick was playing baseball. I don't know. I don't think that there's one thing that we could say on any player that this is why they weren't, you know, successful. It's always about the athlete taking advantage of whatever opportunities they get. I go back to that program thing, you know, and I do think that it's good for the kids to go and participate in some of the combines that they're doing. I'm in no way saying that they don't need to do that. I think that that's good. I think they need to see where they fit in, where they size up. And yes, if we can get the Elite 11 and get them all here in one room, heck yeah, man, let's tune in. I'm gonna turn it on and watch it. I wanna see what this is gonna look like, who's got the strongest arm. I mean, yeah, we're all gonna, you know, look and do that. But I think that when they do that, there's probably a tendency that you begin to think of your opportunities as an event, as a game, and it's like it's marked on the calendar. But kids then tend to like press and put so much pressure on this one event that they have, that I got to perform well here at this thing. And then when I don't, their world just crumbles. And after that, and that's not the mindset that the athlete has. And somewhere Patrick's got that where he's had that all along. I mean, like, we can talk in here about all this stuff, but just he understands that you never know when the opportunity's gonna come.
But that's the intrigue of the whole process. I mean, that's the fun of it. You know, everybody thinks they know. I mean, we have draft experts at every level. I mean, now we're almost getting to the point when a kid enrolls in kindergarten, we're going to start putting a projected draft grade on him. You know, if we see him playing sandlot touch football, there's going to be a camera crew. They're going, you know, this might be the future right here. And again, what I have always found funny, especially when I was really following it during my career as a sports broadcaster, everybody claims to be an expert and nobody is. And you can just go down the list. You know, if my heart surgeon made as many mistakes as draft experts make, we'd all be dead by now. Yeah, I still think Mitchell Trubisky, in the right spot, with the right coaches and the right players around him, yeah, he could be a good quarterback for a good team someday, because there had to be something there. I have no idea what it is, and I never saw it. But there just has to be a reason that Chicago drafted him number 2, other than he was just a good-looking white guy that they thought could be their quarterback in the future. It has to be deeper than that. At least for the Bears fans' sake, I hope it's deeper than that.
He just happened to be in that draft class with him. I mean, it ain't his fault. I mean, as we do this and we're talking and, you know, the Chicago Bears fans get all upset, I mean, he just happened to be in that draft for him, you know, and anybody could have missed and projected and whatever, and there's so many other factors there that happen. He's not done either. I mean, these guys are young. So, Trubisky, if you're listening, man, I mean, I love to see the story where we come back and them dudes are battling it out, you know, for a Super Bowl against each other, you know what I mean? Because his story ain't over. I mean, you know, and I don't know what opportunities he's got now, and I hadn't followed him. And I know just like for him, that sun's come up, and, you know, what's he going to do with the day? And so, you know, this Pat's senior year, that was kind of our theme the whole year, was win the day. And that's all you can do is every day, sun comes up, what am I going to do with today?
Well, for Mahomes, his accolades can speak for themselves. An MVP, a Super Bowl, 3 straight AFC Championship game appearances, and 2 straight Super Bowl appearances. 120 touchdowns to 25 picks, a 39-9 record as a starter. He took a team on the verge of being great and simply made them a dynasty in the making. Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league, outside of Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, and possibly even Josh Allen.
There's nothing exact about this science of drafting players, and I like it that way. I like it that way a lot because it gives us a great deal to talk about when the conversation in the bar starts to slow down. We can always argue about Mitchell Trubisky and Patrick Mahomes. There's your ending, by the way.